All right, everybody, it's Chip Walton, Chop and Brew. I'm here with Garrick Van Buren, Eric Dahl. We just wrapped up an epic brew day on a Kuit beer, a Dutch historical style, and it got me thinking I should really take another historical style to share with these guys. This is kind of a nod, a tribute, a toast to our friends at the this week in Rauch Beer and this year in Rauch Beer. Honestly, every year should be a great year for Rauch Beer. But our smokeheads on the Facebook group. Cheers.
Cheers.
What we have here is sent to us from Norway, from Jarund Jævig, from Stjørdal. This is a Stjørdal ale, Stjørdal Øl. I would put money that it's going to be one of the smokiest things you're ever going to taste in your life. So, quick backstory. I want to get their actual first taste kind of blind on video, but this is a raw ale, juniper. This Soinhus smoked malt, so they use alderwood to like smoke dry, not just like kiss it after being kilned, but like it is how it's kilned. So 100% that, juniper, and then fermented with bread yeast. It's raw ale. It's insane. I'm just going to post the link instead of telling all the steps. They allowed us to reprint this a couple years ago, but essentially imagine an overnight cold mash of juniper, grist, in the 50s, our temp, I believe. Then over this like series of mashes the next day, barely bringing it to 150. But this process should take about 7 hours. As I learned the fun and hard way from brewing over there, like everything there, commitment, dedication, patience, the understanding that time is the best thing. But it's never officially boiled. So yeah, it's a beautiful color. Can you imagine all of that is just from like a pale malt that's been dried with alderwood smoked
Beautiful
malt.
Clear.
What's the nose?
Before tasting it, see when he handed me the cup and I'm holding it down by my waist, I could already smell smoke.
Yes.
So I think getting my nose up in here is going to be quite an experience.
It's a really good campfire right now.
Pine or juniper influence?
I think some pine.
Yeah.
I think there's
More so pine than juniper, a little resin.
wow. That is
Boom.
that is bright and that is sharp.
It's like you take a pine, partially burned pine branch on the fire and brush your teeth with it.
Or dip it in syrup, because it's also got this nice
Yeah.
residual sweetness.
And the original sweetness is great.
The brightness is a great first word, because it might not be the smokiest thing you've ever had, honestly. As I said that as a warning, and I don't taste it, but it is definitely this different kind of smoke that's wrapped around something very, like, bright is a great word,
got
sparkly.
a bright acidity to it.
I like the pine tree sap campfire.
It's also quite cold, so
Mm-hmm.
as it warms up, you might get more of the smoky phenolics coming out.
Yeah.
There's a greenness, more green shoots of something fresh out of the garden than it is like a celery or a cabbage.
Spruce tips, not the spruce, more of a pine than spruce.
Yeah,
Splitting hairs, but
Get a little bit of almost like black pepper.
yeah, I can see that.
I've had this for about 6 months. I think it has changed a little bit. He sent me 6. This is our second to last one. Picking up just a little slight tartness, but that also could just be in there because of the smoke. Maybe I'm imagining the evolution of that. But to me, it tastes like Christmas.
It tastes like Christmas.
Like, not the spice side of Christmas, just like the elements, the wood, the smoke, the nature.
being up north,
yeah,
the pepper, black pepper was good. I get it's like a smoked peppercorn.
Yeah.
Reminds me of cooking over a campfire. You got
For real.
your seasoned hunk of meat.
yeah. I'm getting. I want this to be like some pork. That's what I want with this.
Shockingly clear, too.
It
You
is,
Sometimes
brilliantly
raw
clear.
ales get like this reputation for being cloudy, but I think that's either settles out or because of the way that Jorunn makes these over these hours and hours and hours in different temperatures that we as American modern homebrewers just can't like really wrap our heads around. I think a lot of just things happen in their long mashing schedules from their traditional ways that it's hard to put your single infusion brain around.
Maybe longer rests at the lower temperatures is enough to denature things and get some sort of break coming out, even if it's not a typical hot break.
Probably, yeah. Again, not a Kvike beer though. Stjordal, I don't know if some people might use Kvike, but I've been led to believe as a region it's really heavy on smoked malts, home smoked malts, but not the Kvike. They use bread yeast. Traditionally, it would seem. So kind of a little different thing, right? And now we're learning like different regions of this country that we've all been hearing a lot about recently also have their own special things, their own special techniques, processes, ingredients that they gather. It's just delicious. It almost tastes
Very fun.
I don't know what it tastes. I don't want to say it tastes like a liqueur because it doesn't have that bound, that like booze, but it tastes beyond beer to me a little bit. And I can't, almost Sizery, I guess, if I had to pinpoint something else, because it's got this tartness. It almost has this fruit. In this case, it's obviously got the malt and the smoke too, but to our point of talking about the Kuwait beer just earlier, it also strikes you as something like, I don't know a beer that tastes like this, but I understand that this is beer.
Yes.
I think it has so many big flavors that wouldn't normally be associated with beer. You've got the smoke, and yes, they're rug beers, but it's a different smoke character than what you get in a rug beer.
Right.
It's got this bright acidity to it, almost lemony. And I don't want to convey a pine sol, right? It's lemon and pine, but not a lemony pine sol sort of thing.
That's what made me kind of think Sizer just for a second, because the acidity that the apple cider part of a Sizer would bring to the equation, I assume the smoke is doing here. Well, and probably juniper infusion as well.
Like a smoke infused cocktail almost. Or
Yeah.
got all these different flavors that aren't normally beer sort of flavors. But then it's got this layer of smoke that you get it in the nose, and then it's also there in the palate too. But it's, for me, it's almost a different character or it is a different character that I'm getting on the nose versus in the flavor. A different type of smoke, different smoke character.
It's very fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, the full recipe is in Historical Brewing Techniques from Lars Marius Garschel. At least as much as you can replicate it in America. There are some malt sources that I name drop in the link that I'll put below as well. So if you want to try to make it here. Jeroen was amazing enough to send me, he sent me freeze-dried juniper bottles. And then in case the USDA didn't allow those in, he made 12-ounce bottle of infusion.
Wow.
He's like, in case you need to cheat it. And 5 kilograms of his home smoked malt, his Soinhus, which I've shamefully not done anything with, but they are all still fresh in the freezer, unmilled, ready to go. So that is definitely a winter project, especially now that I remind myself what it tastes like. I'm like, this needs to get brewed like before Christmas.
Before Christmas.
It's the
sure.
season. It feels like winter.
Yeah.
Get on it, Chip.
All right. Chop for chop.
Brew for brew.
Woo! Smoke for smoke. Woo! Thanks. You're on.
Thank you.